Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a story that has been almost completely erased from our history books. A tale of betrayal, a daring assassination plot, and the forgotten hero who saved the life of none other than George Washington. You see, in the summer of 1776, the air in New York City wasn't just thick with humidity, it was thick with tension. The Declaration of Independence was just weeks away from being signed, and the American Revolution was hanging by a thread. General George Washington had made the city his headquarters, a strategic but incredibly vulnerable position. The British fleet, a terrifying armada, was massing in the harbor, and the city was crawling with loyalists, British sympathizers who would do anything to crush the rebellion. In the midst of this chaos, a sinister plot was brewing right under Washington's nose, inside his own inner circle. It wasn't a plan for an open battle, but something far more personal and treacherous. A plot to assassinate the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. If it had succeeded, the American Revolution might have died before it truly began. The man at the center of this conspiracy was someone Washington trusted, a member of his elite personal bodyguard unit, the Life Guard. His name was Thomas Hickey. Hickey was an Irish-born soldier who had previously served with the British. He was charismatic, well-liked, and had earned a spot in the most trusted unit in the Army. The Life Guard was composed of the best soldiers, hand-picked for their loyalty and skill. Their sole duty was to protect General Washington at all costs. The idea that one of them could be a traitor was unthinkable. But Hickey had a dark side. He was known for his love of money and a dissolute lifestyle, and it was this weakness that the loyalist governor of New York, William Tryon, exploited. Hiding out on a British ship in the harbor, Tryon orchestrated a network of spies and collaborators within the city. He used a local gunsmith named Gilbert Forbes to funnel counterfeit money and British gold to anyone willing to betray the Patriot cause. Hickey was a prime target. He was roped into the scheme, tempted by promises of wealth and a pardon from the king. The plan was chillingly simple. According to some accounts, the conspirators, including Hickey, planned to poison Washington. The method? Lacing a dish of green peas, one of Washington's favorite foods, with a potent toxin. The person responsible for preparing Washington's meals was his housekeeper, a woman named Phoebe Francis. She was the daughter of Samuel Francis, the owner of the famous Francis Tavern, a hub for revolutionary activity. The conspirators tried to recruit Phoebe into their plot. They likely threatened her, offered her money, or tried to manipulate her loyalty. This is where our forgotten hero steps onto the stage. Phoebe Francis was faced with an impossible choice. She was in a position of immense trust, but also immense danger. The fate of the revolution and the life of its leader rested squarely on her shoulders. Phoebe did not buckle. In an incredible act of bravery, she decided to feign agreement with the conspirators. She played along, learning the details of their horrific plan, but secretly, she knew she had to warn the general, waiting for the right moment when she could speak to him without raising suspicion. She revealed everything. Imagine the scene. The trusted housekeeper, her voice likely trembling, confessing that the general's favorite dish was about to be his last. Washington, a man known for his composure, listened intently. He had to act, but he also had to be careful not to tip off the conspirators and allow them to escape. Following Phoebe's warning, Washington devised a plan. That evening, at dinner, the fateful dish of peas was served. Everyone watched as it was placed before the general. In a moment of high drama, Washington scooped some peas onto his plate. But then, in a seemingly casual gesture, he tossed them out the window to the chickens in the yard. Within moments, the chickens that ate the peas began to convulse and die. The proof was undeniable. The plot was real. Washington's calm facade had concealed a masterstroke. By exposing the poison without directly confronting Hickey at the table, he had confirmed the threat and preserved the element of surprise. The trap was sprung. Immediately following the incident, Thomas Hickey was arrested. He had been careless, bragging about his British money in a local tavern. He was court-martialed on June 26, 1776. The evidence against him was overwhelming. Multiple witnesses testified to his involvement in the plot and his attempts to recruit others. He was found guilty of mutiny, sedition, and treachery. His sentence was swift and absolute: death by hanging on June 28, 1776, in front of a crowd of 20,000 soldiers and citizens. Thomas Hickey was executed. It was the first military execution in the newly forming United States, a stark and brutal message to anyone else considering betrayal. Washington ordered the entire army to witness it, ensuring the lesson was not lost. The plot was shattered. But what happened to Phoebe Francis, the woman who risked everything? This is the most tragic part of the story. Her name largely vanished from the history books. While Samuel Francis, her father, is remembered for his tavern and his service to the cause, Phoebe's courageous act has been relegated to a historical footnote, sometimes even dismissed as folklore. There are no statues of Phoebe Francis, no holidays to mark her bravery. She was a young woman, likely of mixed-race heritage, who found herself at the epicenter of American history, in a time when women, especially women of color, had little to no public voice. She used her position, her intelligence, and her courage to save the life of the one man who held the revolution together. Without her intervention, George Washington could have died in New York in 1776. The Continental Army, leaderless and demoralized, would have likely collapsed. The British would have crushed the rebellion, and the United States of America, as we know it, might never have existed. All of it hinged on the bravery of one person who chose loyalty over fear. So, the next time you think about the heroes of the American Revolution, remember the names that aren't carved in stone. Remember Phoebe Francis, the housekeeper who served a dish of courage and saved a nation. Her story is a powerful reminder that heroes come in all forms, and sometimes the most pivotal acts of bravery happen not on the battlefield, but in the quiet moments where one person makes a difficult, world-changing choice. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more hidden histories. Let me know in the comments what other forgotten heroes you think we should cover. See you next time.